Instagram. Hello, Instagram over there.
Hi.
And we're live on Facebook and YouTube. We're live in the warehouse. Is that okay, Sean?
Excellent.
Got the all clear. All right, let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to the Foxy Property Chat podcast. We've got a few questions lined up today. We're going to be asking Jake and Phoebe these questions and we'll get their answers. How are we today? We'll start with Phoebe. How are you, Phoebe?
I am great. You went to answer them.
I was ready. I
was
had my
mixing
answer
things up.
loaded.
I am good. I was sick last week, so I am on the mend and feeling much better this week. So
All right, let's get kidding, Jake. How are you, Jake?
It's fine. No, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Okay.
Ready.
Excellent. All right, let's jump in. We don't have we've got about 6 questions today, so we'll see how we go. Starting off with, if someone was interested in a career in home staging, what would you recommend? How would you recommend getting started?
I would recommend getting a job as a home stager. That's sounds very simple, but
It's going to be a
no,
long podcast.
yeah.
well, as,
Jake thinks you're so funny.
no, I was joking, but at the same time, that's what you do. You don't. A lot of people in this industry feel like they should start their own business and try and do it themselves, not realizing that that doesn't get you the experience as a home stager very quickly because first you have to figure out all the other stuff out. That is a simple answer for us at least, is if you're interested in doing this as a career, reach out to a company like ours that has multiple stylists within the business and try and get a position.
Yeah.
I mean,
Check in. And if you're in a place where there isn't a styling company like that, give it a go. Don't hold back waiting to get your business motto, getting a big business plan in place, getting all that stuff happening. Nothing beats actually getting out and giving it a go. So that's one of our biggest
Probably worth
things.
actually seeing if you enjoy
Like
it.
it.
Yeah.
And we've had that. We do a trial day for our stylists. We do it intentionally before we offer them a full-time job because so many people don't realise the labour-intensive part of the role. And we've had people who've been with us for one day because it's not what they anticipated it would be. And there is hard work in there too. So definitely go check it out first before you make that decision.
Yep.
Okay, a big question here from Perth Stage to Sell. I only do vacant staging and always wondered how the beds look poorly made when I pick them up. We went to pack up a job and one of the clients was asleep in the bed.
That'll do it.
Another similar example with a flippers listing, think the family was staying there. I find myself feeling a little, this is her words or his words, a little miffed, that's M-I-F-F-E-D, about my
You
beds.
haven't
don't
heard that
hold
word
back.
before?
No.
I say that all the time.
Miffed about my beds
about it.
getting slept in, but then think so long as I don't have to wash the linen after, then I'm probably feeling miffed for no reason. Maybe taking it too personally. I would love to know your thoughts and policies on this. How do you handle a similar situation?
So we obviously do integrated styling. It's something that we do quite often. We have implemented strategies to make that easier for our vendors as well as obviously save us the washing, where they actually keep the linen. So we'll go and purchase it from Target or from Adairs, depending on the level of the property, and then they actually hold on to the linen. The waffle weave and the quilted tops look fantastic throughout the sale campaign. They stay crisp and they stay looking perfect, and then we don't have to do washing and they don't have to remake the beds every week. So that's in an integrated style. In a vacant property where we've quoted for it just to be there for hire and not to be used, we use different quality linen. So we've obviously gone to the effort to purchase linen that's going to stand the test of sunlight and all that sort of stuff. So it does cost more. And if somebody slept in that linen, I would be annoyed. And I have been annoyed and I understand being miffed. But I don't think people do it maliciously. I don't think they think they're getting around anything. I don't think they're doing it I don't think they're trying to annoy us. Honestly, I just take a step back at the end of the day. If you're just going to let them keep the linen, or if you have to get it dry cleaned, you pass on a dry cleaning fee. So that is in our terms and conditions as well. We haven't passed on a fee yet. We've just got it washed by the laundry ladies that come by, and we work it into it. But I do understand that feeling that if they've done wrong by you, but I really don't know if they've done it on purpose.
Do you know what I was going to say as well is it's a clear conversation. So it's pretty rare that somebody is staying in the house and we don't know about it.
Yeah.
So because that's part of the conversation earlier, it's one of the questions that we ask at a consult generally. So if they're sleeping in the beds, we generally know it ahead of
Yeah.
time, and that's why you can go and get the different
Linen
linen,
purchase, yeah.
and it's not even it's not a problem. It's not something that bothers us. And so the amount of times where somebody's staying there and we don't know and we get to the pack up and that's happened is quite rare.
But I do, and the stylists do get bothered that that's been slept in. I do understand that feeling, because your intention could be to go and use that linen again.
Yeah,
And
that would
you can't.
that would really miff me off,
You don't,
Miff
you
me
don't
off,
say
I-
you miff me. That's not how you use that word.
isn't it?
I
It
don't
is
know
now.
how you don't. I haven't heard of that word.
Okay, Nestled Interiors. How do you combat undercutting competition within the industry?
We've
It's a bit
answered.
rife at the moment, that undercutting. It's
I
a
think
bit
I mean
frustrating.
we've answered this a few times, and it's one that keeps coming up because it's never going to go away, and it's one of those things that's very frustrating. We have a few things that I guess there's a few ways to answer that. Firstly, we generally don't discount, so we don't compete by trying to go lower, price match or go lower. I know that there are definitely businesses that do that, and we compete against some of those businesses. But we've kind of said as the owners of Foxy that's we believe in the value that we provide and the price point at which we sit, and that's something that we will stick to. And if that means we lose a few listings, that's we accept that. Doesn't mean we're happy about it, but we accept it. But also we I say we, this is really Phoebe and the consult team. They've kind of got their, I'm gonna call it a pitch, but I guess that's not necessarily what it is. But like the conversations and the way that we show the value that we bring is something that generally can combat that to some degree. So people don't always understand if they haven't spoken to you, or they don't, they're basically looking at two companies. They've got two prices.
Yeah.
Unless they understand why one is more than the other or one's less than the other, it's hard for them to make a decision that isn't based just on price. So sometimes it is just a conversation. It's explaining it that maybe the two quotes aren't comparable. It's also, to give another answer to the same question, the relationships we've built. So much of our work is repeat through agents coming back to us again, and they use us because they know the service and they know the value we provide, and it's not necessarily about cost. So sometimes we combat it by not even being in a position to have those other competitors underquote us.
Yeah.
What else?
So to elaborate on your the one where saying making sure the quotes are the same, it's something that I will have. This is very much a vendor-based discussion where I'm asking them to make sure they're comparing apples with apples. So obviously, if two agents put us forward, we're on par, but one might bring significantly less furniture into the property comparative to the other one, and that's representative in the total quoted price. So making sure that your portfolio, which these days our online up-to-date portfolio is Instagram, making sure that it is up-to-date and you have a reference point for them to go to and check the work out. If you can show them and give them tangible differences and options and lots of examples where they can see the difference in the way you style comparative to someone who's lower priced, that puts you a foot ahead. Something that and I know it's really hard. I know in Victoria, particularly, which is where Sarah's based, I know it's really hard down there at the moment. From my understanding, talking to lots of stylists down there, it's incredibly difficult. So it's really, I guess it's easier for me to say that those clients that are wanting us to drop the price by that much, they're not our clients. So it's much easier for me to say that because I've got the work coming through the door still. But there's lots of options, lots of work up here, and we're not willing to go and do a job that they're asking for a minimum $1,500. That's just not how we're going to do it. And I'm not setting that expectation. That's just not going to happen. So we have a minimum, we stick to it. I don't discount. There are agents who we've done lots and lots of work for who I will value add. So if they need an extra, the bedroom added complimentary to get their listing over the line, it's a discussion I'll have with them. If they need an extra week or something more flexible within our payment terms or within our terms and conditions, I'll have that discussion with them. But we have to have an established, very reliable, beneficial, symbiotic relationship that has been going on for a long time. They're probably the elements to it. It does happen in every industry, and it happens to everybody, and it doesn't matter if you run your business well or not. Somebody is going to come to you and ask you to drop your prices, and you just have to hold firm and know that you're doing the right thing, because saying yes to a $1,500 job might mean saying no to a much, much bigger job on the same day, where you actually get to highlight your work and actually have a really great outcome.
It also sets a precedent, doesn't
Does,
it?
100%.
Yeah. You drop your prices once, they'll expect it again
Yes.
and again, and they'll tell people about you, and they'll tell you that you drop your prices,
Yeah.
and it just keeps going.
Yeah, just push them a little bit harder.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering if you would be happy to share some info about the agent meetings Phoebe used to do when meeting new agents, or perhaps still do. I've got some meetings lined up, but wonder if you took anything in particular to these meetings.
So this would be very agency dependent, agent dependent, and also the setting upon which we're having the meeting. So if it's just in a cafe, I'm going to prep myself with taking maybe my realestate.com, the profile where I've got all my listings that we've styled all there in one spot, so they can go through and have a look. It might be actually having printed out. I never actually went to the extent of having printed out examples, but you could. I always took brochures. I always left something in the office behind for them to put into their listing proposals, and then afterwards I would follow it up with basically a wrap up of the conversation with a PDF version of the brochure, so they can do it as an electronic version for their proposal. So for their listing kits. So basically, leaving something behind is really important. It's up to you and to the setting what's going to make the most beneficial, I guess, for those agents. If it's an agency-wide meeting, I would do a PowerPoint presentation, following it up and getting the email to every agent that's in that room, because you can definitely see some are glazed over and they just really are not listening. But yeah, it just depends on those meetings.
Jake, what would you talk about? Have you been to any?
I don't think so. Not by myself.
Yes, we've come to agent coffee where we've met a couple. And
true. I've been to some.
You've been to the relaxed ones, not to the agency presentations.
And they were more just to meet the person as opposed to somebody that we didn't know and we were trying to get work from.
It's not so much. Yeah, you're trying to convince them. It's more just meeting them.
And before we'd actually started, we met with a couple of one in particular that I can think of an agent that we knew through previous work that basically he sold a property for us, so we knew him, and it was more about asking questions and getting his opinion on a few things. So.
You had coffee with Jake.
Jake Dwyer, yes. Ben Cannon, a couple others, yeah.
Anyway.
Continue.
What's sort of the most common question you get? What's some pushback?
Price?
Price.
Yeah, where's your pricing sit?
That's not so much pushback, that's just
that's
question.
That's not pushback, that's question, wanting to want that knowledge. But so my introduction to the price conversation isn't this is where we sit. It is we sit very much in the middle of the market. If you get 3 quotes, I want to sit in the middle. I don't ever want to sit either side. That's where they generally want to sit as with their commission. So it's puts us on par. Like the conversation's very similar to where they're wanting to sit with the commission-based relationship too. Yep. The other ones are versatility of stock. Everyone always asks us where our warehouse is and how big is the warehouse. And that's pretty much the only questions. Then I lead down the path of flexibility, all the things that make us that little bit better. And then if we do sometimes get questions about why our pricing is different to other, there are significant pricing differences between stylists in Brisbane. So we will get asked potentially why our pricing is different. That gives me a great opportunity then to talk about how we own our own stock.
Yeah, awesome. So focus on the strengths, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll kind of ask this, but what's the most common objection potential clients, so not necessarily agents, but potential clients have when it comes to staging their homes?
It's probably a question for you in terms of consults, like some of the frequently asked questions. I mean,
objection, that's not a frequently asked question.
Well, not an objection, but the things that maybe people want to
get pushback,
by. I mean, price is always a question, or generally a question for a lot of people. It's not so much a pushback or an objection, but it's
like if they're getting you there, they're probably
relevant.
Half sold on the idea, right?
It depends on the agent and how they've been introduced to us. If it's an agent referral, as in they've said, here's our stylist, give them a call, that sort of thing. A lot of the time, price is less of an issue because they trust the agent. They've already been kind of, hopefully, or in some cases, or it works better at least when the agent's kind of floated a rough price guide so that they're getting us out already with that in mind. I don't know about objections though.
Yeah, so one of the most frequent questions I would get is what am I meant to do with the stuff I've got in there? So what am I doing with the furniture that you don't want to use? So that would be with that integrated styling, even of deceased estates, where we will generally be doing it mostly vacant. What do they expect to do with that extra furniture? So we've got really easy answers to that. We obviously have a team who are full-time. It doesn't cost me extra contract dollars to get somebody in to come and help with that furniture, put it in the garage for them, take it off site, charge them extra for that. That would be the, I guess, most negative intended question. Like, you're expecting me to do extra. How am I meant to do that, and what am I meant to do with it? Everything else is pretty straightforward and very easy. They've generally looked at our website and already have the answers, and they're confirming.
Yep. This will be a quick one from Haven 5 Home Staging. I did answer them back, but for the benefit of for everyone else, what brand are the grey racking in the warehouse, please, Jake?
Grey. Do you mean the? It's not really grey, is it? It's kind of the vast grey. Okay. So the racking in
It's
the
white.
main part is like a white creamy colour,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's from a business called Super Rack. And it's kind of, I think it's actually under the heading of garage shelving, long span garage
Long
shelving,
span. Yeah.
as opposed to pallet racking.
Yeah.
If he's talking about grey, maybe he or she means silver, which is the kind of racking that we use for. Well, there's a couple of different ones. One of them's black, is used for all of our accessories. That comes from Bunnings, and then equally on the other side, the silver racking, which we use for our artwork, comes from Bunnings as well. But it's nothing special, is it? You're looking at me like I said that wrong. Bunnings for the rest of it?
No, I was thinking about the shelving and the
I don't-
art room,
yeah, I
but
don't
you're
think-
correct. You're a very efficient answer.
Yeah.
Good. Like it.
None of it's really grey, but there you go. You've got all of our different versions.
And a little more info on the main shelving in the warehouse. It's 2x4 by 2 by 0.6 meters. If you're looking for those specific.
Yeah, so
ones.
we go for the 60 centimeter deep shelving, because then that fits a dining chair on it, and we kind of put them next to
Couple
each other, so we can get access from both sides, and we can put 6 on a shelf if we do it that way.
Yep. All right, on to the under and overrated section. 5-star Google reviews. Are they underrated or are they overrated?
Underrated.
I think underrated.
Yeah.
I definitely go off ratings when I'm looking at trying to find somebody.
Would you rather a 5-star Google review or a 5-star Facebook review?
Google.
Personally,
Yeah.
Google. Yep. I
Right.
mean, it's good to have both, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually noticed I Googled
Google
something
pull
the
it
other
together.
day. Yeah, Google
It'll
actually
list it out.
bring the Facebook reviews
Yeah.
into Google as well.
Does and House, Houzz.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they're all brought in together. So if you Google Foxy, you can see all of you can literally see all of them.
Yeah. VJ wall panels.
Oh, underrated, Jake.
Oh, mate. Oh, well, yeah, they look good.
Oh, but
Underrated.
they're like man-made, like what's a synthetic? Like they're a panel. They're
panel
they're
as
not
opposed to
actually
the
like
individual,
building
yeah.
old school Queenslander.
They're not fun
That's
to paint.
overrated.
They're not fun to paint. I'll give you that.
Oh, they're primed.
Yeah, but you got to paint through all the gaps. You can't just get the roll out. It takes longer. But yeah,
And
underrated.
for those
they
who
look
are
good.
unaware, you're
And
currently...
we've just
Mid-renovation.
put some up on one of our bedroom walls.
Yeah. Good on you for doing it yourself. I'd be paying someone else with the
No, you wouldn't.
no money.
Not
I
when you
have.
saw the quotes.
Yeah, right, okay. No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I'll be getting you to come
You'd be
up and-
figuring out how to give it a go.
Handymen are very much in demand at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm not handy. All right, clean and organised email inbox.
Underrated, but mine isn't. I wish mine. Yeah, I got a lot, and Phoebe's email is horrendous generally.
Excuse me, the Foxy email is just fine.
Yeah, because somebody else does it. Have a look at Phoebe's personal, and it's got thousands.
That's because they just send me spam. That's not included. But the Hello at Foxy one, it used to have like 30,000 emails. And I did struggle with that, but I didn't have the time to clean it up.
But
so
that
it
was
one of the
just to
first
be
tasks.
just to be clear. That's not because we're ignoring emails for those listening. It's
Oh, no,
because
they were
you'd
action
action them
emails,
and
I
just
just
leave them
never
there. Whereas
filed
now
them.
we've got a better organisation system.
Yeah, so that was one of the first tasks our admin staff took care of, and I very much like an empty inbox where everything's been actioned.
Yep.
Adding a pool as a way to add value to your home.
Overrated.
As a way to add value, I'd say
Value.
overrated because
To
they're
live in and love your home, underrated.
yeah they're not cheap to get in, especially at the moment.
We may have done this before, but I couldn't remember. Chat GPT.
Underrated. I haven't used it enough, but I have heard enough to know it's underrated, or to think it's underrated.
I'm gonna underrate it because I feel like I've got no idea what's coming.
That's a good one.
Good answer.
Well, that is it for the podcast. Thanks for joining me, Phoebe and Jake.
Thanks, Cody.
Thanks, everyone, for watching, for listening, for asking questions, and we'll see you back here next week.
See you, bye.
Bye.